Hello everyone. Good evening. We are back again at 9 p.m. with our BITSAT Prime Time with Masterclass Space. Hoping you have been following our sessions regularly and you are gaining some useful insight through this prime time. So idea behind this prime time is to do a regular kind of interaction with you where you get useful insights. You are shared with information which can be generic with respect to bits Pilani, BITSAT, as well as you are shared with subject specific information also. So today, my friends, as you can see in the background, we are doing session on LR strategies. Okay, so we will be doing session on various things, and today we will be doing it on LR strategies. So let me share my screen. Yes. Okay. So my friends, let's start with it. Yeah. So talking about logical reasoning in BITSAT, I think all of us are very well aware that BITSAT includes verbal reasoning as well as non-verbal reasoning. So verbal reasoning would be something which is related to text, and non-verbal would be non-textual, which would be image-based or things like that. Okay, so there are 5 topics in verbal reasoning, 5 topics in non-verbal reasoning. We will just go through them quickly in next slides. Talking about the difficulty level, on an average, you will see that the questions are having moderate difficulty. Exceptions are always there. Out of 20 odd questions, 1 or 2 you can always find very easy or very difficult. But yeah, general idea is that the questions are of moderate level. But friends, there is a catch. When I say moderate level, it is moderate level for those who have actually spent some time on logical reasoning. Many of students I have seen, they think that logical reasoning is something that, okay, it is based on logic. We already know the answers, and what is the use of studying? It doesn't work that way, frankly, because in logical reasoning also there would be certain strategies, there would be a set pattern in which you should think, and that allows you to navigate in the right direction. Of course, suppose there is a given question, there can be n number of approaches. Now, which approach might work, which approach might not work, if you spend all the time during your exam day in doing that part only, then you might solve the question, but it takes 5 minutes. What is the use of such marks? Okay. So point is that you have to be thorough with your practice, with your understanding of the format of the questions, the kind of questions they are asking, and accordingly, you have to boost your marks in logical reasoning section. And it is a very good chance, frankly, because 20 questions, 60 marks, if you prepare well, you can actually get ahead of many, many people. Okay. So that's what we have to do to learn how to manage time and boost our speed and get ahead from most other students. Okay. So if we talk about logical reasoning, yeah. So there has been section like verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning. In verbal reasoning, there is analogy, classification, series completion, logical deduction based on passage reading, and then there is chart logic. So all these topics are covered in the verbal reasoning part. And I have mentioned it a couple of times earlier also. You have to read the brochure of BITSAT 2026 to get a real feel of what topics you would be expecting on the exam day. Okay. So please download it, read it if you haven't done that already. In non-verbal reasoning, there would be pattern perception, figure formation analysis, paper cutting. Frankly, I like paper cutting a lot because it is very confusing. It can, if you just do not give proper attention, it can make you lose marks so quickly. But yeah, if you follow it nicely, it can help you a lot. Figure matrix is there. and then rule detection. Okay, so 10 topics are there. We will try to cover multiple topics in our live sessions. So keep on attending our sessions. Also, you must be aware, we are having a live crash course for English and logical reasoning. So we do this crash course every year. Since previous 3 years, we are doing this course. Always students join it and find it very helpful for boosting their score, because these 90 marks, if you get some good marks out of them, if you save some time and get good marks, you can be like in top percentage of BIT students. Okay, so that is the idea. So today, friends, we will be covering the topic of analogy. We will be doing 4 questions. So we will be discussing what strategy, what thought process can be used, so that if such question come in your exam, you are able to manage it well and score good marks. So we will start with a very simple question, and that's how the questions of analogy would look like. You are given 3 words. First two have some relationship, and 4th word is not given, which means 3rd and 4th should have the same relationships. So fire and hot. Obviously, if fire is there, it would make that place, that object hot. So if ice is there, what it would do? It would make that place, that object cold. So very simply, for this particular question, the answer would be option B, which is cold. Okay. If you want, you can pause this video, attempt by yourself, mark your answer, so that when I share, you are able to cross-verify it. Okay. Always think of very nicely that first 2 words, what relation they are having. The common mistake which many students do in such question is they look at the options, they look at the 3rd word instantly, and then their mind at times get fumbled up. Okay, what you need to do is you should focus entirely on the first 2 words. Just try to establish a clear relationship in your mind with respect to first 2 words, and then try to identify that relationship in the next set of 2 words. Fine. So this was fairly simple question to start with. Let's move to little tricky question. Writer is to novel as sculptor is to. So again, you have to identify the relation. Now, of course, writer writes the novel and sculptor makes the statue, right? So question looks easy, but many students can confuse it with stone also. What you have to understand, chisel, stone, they are the material for making the statue. But in the question, writer is to novel. Novel is given, which is, say, the end product which writer was able to produce. Similarly, you have to see that, of course, sculptor used chisel and stone, but for what? To creating the statue. So this was another question on analogy. Let's try this question, friends. So at times you might have a word which is similar sounding, at times it might not be there. PANKOJ Okay. So when such words come, obviously there is a feeling in mind to see that, okay, can we just go back 1 alphabet, 2 alphabet, 3 alphabet, or we can go forward 1 alphabet, 2 alphabet, 3 alphabet. Okay. But again, my very sincere advice to you would be focus on first 2 words only. In fact, if you want, pause the video, attempt these, like try to identify the relationship and then get the answer. Okay. So if you have done that, friends, if you see first letter is P and first letter there is O. O is preceding P. O is preceding P. If we go to second letter, which is A, but the second letter of second word is not Z, it's not, say, Z, it's B, which is succeeding it. So we are seeing a kind of relation where in the first place, the preceding letter was used. In the second place, the succeeding letter was used. So our intuition might be that in third place, again, the preceding letter should be used. Let's try to see, is that working or not? So N is there, N for nest, and that is related to M, M for mango. Again, preceding letter. And is that proceeding, succeeding working? We can verify. K is there, and after K, the succeeding letter L is there. So friends, very tricky question. It is not simply succeeding or simply proceeding. It is alternate sequence. Okay. So all odd places have preceding letters. All even places have succeeding letters. So with that logic, so S, you have to find proceeding one. So proceeding to S is R. So your options are shortlisted to A and B. And then A, which is at even place. So succeeding to it is B. So your answer is Bombay. RBQPC. Of course, you can verify it. But yes, this is the logic. Okay. So such tricky questions can also be there. So if you see, first and second might be very simple, but this third question is not that simple. Okay. So that's how you have to use your logic. You can try to find gaps consistently. You can try to see if there is a sequence in which things are just preceding or they are succeeding or there is a mixture. Fine. Okay, very good. Let's try fourth question. Fourth question. Again, at times you might be given words which are readable. At times you might be given words which are not readable. Do not develop an affinity for reading words. Okay. Many times what I have seen, when students develop a particular affection for those words which they can read and have no intent to work on those questions where they cannot read, please don't do that. Okay. Treat all of them equally. Stop the video if you want to practice this question. So first thing is clerical, and then clerical is related somehow to the second word. I can't read it. Sila, something like that. Photograph, we have to tell what photograph would be according to this logic. Okay. Clerical, if you see very carefully, succeeding, proceeding logic is not working well. Of course, you can try to find out the difference between C and L, and then can see is the same happening between L and C. All those things you can try. But here, another pattern is visible. What is that pattern, my friends? If you see initial two alphabets, CL, they have been interchanged as LC. Okay. In the second word, they just got swapped as LC. Then if we move to next two alphabets, ER, they also have been interchanged as RE. Then IC have been interchanged as CI, and AL has been interchanged as LA. So what is happening? So they have broken the word into set of two alphabets, and then within that set, they have interchanged the places. Same thing you have to do. So for the photograph, so PH constitutes the first set and you then interchange it. So it starts with HP now. Again, life becomes simple. Two options remain. Then OT is there. So instead of OT, when they interchange, it becomes TO. So you can see A would be the answer. Okay. So friends, this is what is covered in analogy, where you are given certain set of words, certain set of letters or numbers. You have to identify relationship between them, and then accordingly you have to identify the relationship between the third and fourth. Okay, so this is what happens in analogy. Hoping you have understood this concept well and you will be able to score good marks based on it. So for today, that's it. In next session, We will bring you some another topic, some good insight, so that you can succeed in your BITSAT journey. Okay, so take care and see you soon. Bye bye.